In the heart of Zen and Buddhist philosophy lies a timeless truth. The quieter you become, the more you can hear. Wisdom often blooms in silence, not in the clamor of words. Think about it, words, after all, are like seeds. Once planted, they grow, sometimes into lush trees of understanding, but more often into tangled thickets of misunderstanding, confusion, and conflict. How many times have we spoken too freely, only to realize later that our words have stirred up more turmoil than peace? Today, we're diving into one of the most profound teachings from Zen. Do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. A seemingly simple statement, yet it holds a deep lesson on discretion, silence, and the importance of guarding our inner peace. But what does this ancient wisdom really mean in our modern world? Especially in our closest relationships with family? It may seem counterintuitive, but Zen teaches us that sharing everything with those we love may not always bring the connection we expect. It might even lead to more tension, confusion, or unnecessary expectations. What if I told you that there are 3 specific things Zen and Buddhist philosophy advise us not to share with our families? These are not just small details, they are deep, personal aspects of our lives that, when exposed, can distort our relationships and hinder our own growth. So, what should we guard closely, even from those we love? Stick with me as we explore these 3 critical areas, and together, we'll uncover how silence and discretion can bring peace, clarity, and harmony into your family life, perhaps in ways you've never imagined before. You might be surprised by the power of silence and the wisdom of keeping certain things to yourself. Let's begin this journey into Zen and discover how it can transform our relationships, one thoughtful word at a time. 1. Personal struggles and weaknesses. A seeker once approached a Zen master, troubled by familial discord. "Master," the seeker said, "I have shared my struggles with my family, hoping for support, but instead, I feel judged and misunderstood. Why is this?" The master invited the seeker to sit beside a tranquil pond, the cool breeze whispering through the trees, the calm surface reflecting the blue sky above. There was a sense of stillness, as if the very air around them was holding its breath. "Do you see the reflection of the moon on the water?" the master asked gently. The seeker nodded, observing the soft glow of the moon's reflection, casting a silvery light on the water's surface. "Yes," the seeker replied, their voice full of curiosity. "Now," the master said, "throw a pebble into the water." The seeker complied, watching as the small stone rippled the surface. The reflection of the moon distorted, breaking into 1,000 shimmering fragments. The master remained silent for a moment, allowing the seeker to observe the changes. When the ripples faded and the water returned to calm, the master spoke again. "Your struggles are like the moon, and your family is like the water. Sharing too much of your pain, your troubles, your worries, causes ripples. It distorts the reflection, causing confusion, worry, and interference. Your family may care for you deeply, but they cannot always see your struggles clearly when their emotions get involved. While your struggles are yours to face, their perspective can distort your reality." The seeker, feeling both humbled and enlightened, began to understand. But isn't it right to share with the ones we love? How else do we find support? The seeker asked, still wrestling with the dilemma. The master smiled, the lines of wisdom deepening in his face. "Yes, it is natural to seek solace in those close to us. But remember, not all support is helpful, and not all words bring comfort. Families, bound by love, are often more influenced by their own fears, worries, and experiences than by objective understanding. They may want to help, but their emotional reactions, no matter how pure their intentions, can often cloud their ability to truly offer the support you need. When you offload your burdens onto others, it can leave you feeling more vulnerable, more misunderstood. The pain doesn't dissolve. Instead, it's magnified by their concern, sometimes distorting your own sense of self. In Zen philosophy, the emphasis is not on sharing every personal struggle with those around us, especially when they are not in a position to offer the kind of help we need. Zen teaches us the value of introspection, of facing our challenges quietly, within, True strength is not found in external validation or sympathy, but in the inner resilience that arises from facing our struggles alone, without the constant need for others' intervention. This may sound paradoxical, but it's in silence, in solitude, that we come to terms with our struggles, transforming them into opportunities for growth. The idea is not to shut ourselves off from others entirely, but to learn the wisdom of discretion. Not everything needs to be shared. Not every battle needs an audience. When we share our struggles too freely, especially with those who are emotionally invested in us, we risk complicating the issue, creating ripples that pull us further from the calm we seek. It is through facing our challenges in stillness that we begin to understand their true nature, to see them for what they really are, rather than through the distorting lens of worry or judgment. Think of a garden. When you plant a seed, you don't need to tell the world about it every time it sprouts a leaf. You water it, care for it quietly, and allow it to grow. If you pull it out every day to show others, the roots are disturbed, the growth stunted. Similarly, when we face our personal struggles, we should give ourselves space to grow without constantly seeking validation or sympathy from others. By keeping our struggles to ourselves, we allow them to transform us, to make us stronger in ways that wouldn't be possible if we were constantly seeking external support. The Zen approach to personal struggle is not about suppressing emotions or pretending that everything is fine when it's not. It is about learning to sit with our pain, to observe it without judgment, and to allow ourselves to grow from it. In this space, we can begin to notice patterns, to see how we react, and to develop the inner tools to respond with clarity and equanimity. There's a deep peace in learning how to carry our burdens alone. It doesn't mean that we never seek help or that we isolate ourselves from those who care. It simply means that we become selective about when and with whom we share. We save our deepest struggles for those who can listen without judgment, who can offer guidance without injecting their own emotional needs into the situation. This is the essence of Zen, to remain calm and steady, even when the world around us is in chaos, to find peace within ourselves before we seek it from others. True strength, in this sense, is found not in how much we share, but in how well we handle our internal struggles. Zen teaches us that silence is not emptiness, but a space for personal growth. In that silence, we find the wisdom to transform our pain into a source of inner resilience. When we learn to sit with our struggles, to face them without the need for constant reassurance or intervention, we begin to realize that the strength we seek has always been within us. By keeping our struggles private, we allow them to shape us in ways that make us more whole, more peaceful, and more resilient. The ripples of our struggles do not need to be shared with everyone. They are ours to navigate, ours to transform. In the silence of our hearts, we can find the peace we seek, and through the quiet strength of our own resolve, we can begin to understand that our challenges are not burdens, but opportunities for growth. 2. Financial matters. One day, a young disciple confided in the master, "I have shared every detail of my financial plans and successes with my family, yet it has only brought envy and tension. What should I do?" The master, who had long observed the disciple's inner turmoil, handed him a handful of sand and instructed him to hold it tightly. The disciple, eager to follow the master's command, clenched his fist around the sand, but as he tightened his grip, the grains began to slip through his fingers, falling away. The disciple was startled and quickly tried to hold on more firmly, but the sand continued to escape. "Do you see?" the master said softly. "The more you try to hold on to it, the more it escapes." The disciple looked down at the sand, now scattered on the ground. "So too is the nature of wealth," the master continued. "It cannot be controlled by many hands without being lost." The disciple stood in silence, trying to comprehend the deeper meaning behind the master's words. Money, like sand, is an elusive thing. It slips through our fingers when we cling to it too tightly, or when we expose it to too many influences. The disciple's predicament was not unique. It is a challenge faced by many in the world. When we share our financial successes or struggles with those around us, especially our family, the results can often be far from what we expect. What might start as a genuine desire for connection and understanding can easily spiral into something much more complicated. Envy, unsolicited advice, and even resentment can arise when the delicate balance of family dynamics is disturbed by the introduction of wealth into the conversation. Zen philosophy teaches us to view wealth as a temporary and fluid resource. It is not something to be tightly controlled or flaunted. Wealth, like the sand in the disciple's hand, is meant to flow quietly, without being grasped too forcefully. It is not a defining aspect of life, but rather a tool we use to support our needs and our aspirations. By managing it wisely, we avoid the entanglements that often accompany the public sharing of our financial situations. When we share too much about our finances with family, we invite an unnecessary cloud of expectations into our relationships. Family members, who love and care for us, may begin to feel entitled to a share of our wealth, or they might offer advice that, while well-intentioned, is not grounded in our own desires or needs. These interactions, while seemingly harmless, constrain the bonds of love and trust that are meant to support us through life's challenges. Instead of a peaceful exchange, we might find ourselves in a battle of opinions, each person believing they know what is best for us. Zen teaches that financial matters, like personal struggles, are often best kept private. The sharing of wealth, especially in a world that is so deeply intertwined with material success and competition, can easily lead to misunderstandings and misalignments. When we invite others into our financial world, we risk muddying the waters of our relationships. Each family member has their own perception of money, their own history with it, and their own desires. These differing perspectives can quickly lead to judgment, resentment, or even exploitation, even when the intentions behind them are good. The more we share, the more we open ourselves up to being judged, criticized, or even taken advantage of. Wealth, by its very nature, is an unstable force. It ebbs and flows, and we cannot always control it. When we share our financial lives too freely, we risk exposing ourselves to the instability of others' emotions and expectations. Money becomes a point of tension rather than a source of peace. It's easy to forget that the true value of wealth lies not in the numbers in our bank accounts, but in how we use it to enhance our lives and the lives of others in meaningful ways. The Zen perspective invites us to think of financial independence as a form of freedom, a freedom not just from the grip of debt or financial insecurity, but also from the expectations and pressures that come when we share too much. Financial independence allows us to make choices based on our values and priorities, not out of obligation or the fear of disappointing others. By keeping our financial matters private, we preserve both our peace and the peace of those around us. When we don't burden others with our financial successes or failures, we create space for genuine connection, free from the noise of expectation and comparison. The lesson the master taught the disciple is clear. Financial independence is not just about having money, but about having control over how we choose to share or not share that money. Like sand slipping quietly through our fingers, wealth should flow without obstruction, unimpeded by the opinions or desires of others. The more we try to cling to it, the more we risk losing its true value. When we share it too openly, we invite complications, tensions, and emotional interference into our lives. By allowing wealth to flow in silence, we keep it in its rightful place, not as a measure of our worth, but as a resource that serves us without becoming a source of conflict. It's important to remember that there is wisdom in restraint. By keeping our financial matters private, we protect ourselves from the entanglements that often arise when we make our wealth a point of discussion. When we treat money as a quiet, flowing river rather than a noisy, turbulent storm, we are able to navigate it with calmness and clarity. We can use our resources wisely, with intention, without the pressure of others' expectations weighing on us. In the same way that the disciple learned to let the sand slip through his fingers, we too can learn to let go of the need to control our financial situation through the opinions and judgments of others. We can take responsibility for our own financial journey, making decisions based on what is best for us, rather than on the influences of well-meaning family members. When we do so, we not only preserve our own peace, but we also protect the peace of our relationships. Financial independence, when kept private, becomes a tool for personal freedom, rather than a source of tension or conflict. The more we share, the more expectations we invite. Wealth, like all things in life, is most harmonious when it flows quietly and unobtrusively. By keeping our financial matters to ourselves, we allow them to grow and evolve without unnecessary interference. In doing so, we not only protect our own well-being, but we also preserve the harmony and peace that are so essential to our relationships with those we love. Let wealth flow, like sand slipping through your fingers, uncontested, unencumbered, and free. 3. Future plans. Another disciple came to the master, his face clouded with frustration. "Master," he said, "I shared my vision for the future with my family, hoping for their encouragement, but instead, they only discouraged me. Now I feel disheartened and doubtful. What should I do?" The master, understanding the weight of the disciple's sorrow, led him quietly through the temple garden. They came to a cluster of budding flowers, delicate and fresh. The master gestured toward them and asked, "Do you see these buds?" The disciple nodded, his eyes drawn to the soft petals just beginning to open. "If you pluck them now to show their beauty," the master said gently, "they will never bloom into their full potential." The disciple stood silently, absorbing the wisdom in the master's words. The master continued, "Future plans are like delicate buds. They require time, care, and patience to develop. Sharing them too early with others, especially family, can invite doubts, criticism, and well-meaning interference that may derail your focus." The disciple's gaze dropped, and the master could see the realization dawning on him. It is true, isn't it? We often approach our dreams with excitement, eager to share them with the people we love. We want validation, encouragement, and support for our visions of the future. But when we offer these dreams too soon, we risk exposing them to the harsh winds of doubt and skepticism, winds that can easily crush what is still fragile. Our families, though they may love us deeply, are often speaking from their own fears, limitations, and past experiences, which might not align with our aspirations. Their concerns, while rooted in care, may be based on what they know and understand, not on the vast potential that lies in our own journey. Zen teaches us to practice patience, quiet determination, and to embrace the power of silence when it comes to nurturing our dreams. Just as the flower bud must unfold in its own time, so too must our plans grow in the quiet space of our own hearts. When we allow our visions to develop privately, we give them the room to breathe, to grow strong, and to take shape in ways that may not be immediately visible to others. But if we rush to share them before they are ready, we invite external opinions, doubts, and projections that can overshadow their true potential. There is a quiet strength in allowing our plans to mature in silence. Like the garden's flowers, our dreams need time to stretch toward the light, to sink deep roots into the soil of our minds and hearts. Only when they have taken root, when they are strong enough to withstand the uncertainties and challenges that life inevitably brings, will they be ready to face the world. Premature exposure can cause unnecessary turbulence, just as plucking a flower too early can stunt its growth. What begins as a hopeful bud can wither in the face of external expectations if it is not allowed to grow quietly, without interference. In our world today, we are often taught to share everything, to seek validation and feedback from others before we have even fully formed our ideas. Social media and the constant stream of advice from friends, family, and strangers can make it feel as though we are obligated to present our dreams to the world before they are ready. Yet, true strength lies in the ability to hold space for our dreams, to nurture them in solitude until they are strong enough to stand on their own. Just as a gardener trusts the process of growth, we must trust the process of our own evolution. It takes time, patience, and care to bring our visions into the world in a way that honors their potential. When we allow our plans to grow quietly, without the noise of others' doubts or judgments, we give them the freedom to unfold naturally. The disciple, listening to the master's wisdom, began to understand that his journey toward his dreams didn't need to be rushed or shared prematurely. In fact, the very act of sharing his plans too early had exposed them to too much external pressure. The visions he held in his heart had not yet been fully formed, and by opening them to others, he had invited their doubts, concerns, and fears into the delicate process of creation. There is also something deeply empowering in protecting our dreams until they are ready. By doing so, we demonstrate trust in ourselves and in the process of growth. We don't need validation from others to know that our dreams have value. Their worth doesn't come from the approval of others, but from the quiet certainty we hold within ourselves. When we guard our visions, we allow them to develop in their own time, free from the influence of those who may not fully understand our path. When the time is right, the flowers of our plans will bloom naturally, and the world will see their beauty without the interference of unnecessary doubts or criticisms. Zen reminds us that the best things in life unfold naturally when given the space to do so. Just as the bud doesn't rush to bloom but grows at its own pace, we too must respect the timing of our dreams. There is wisdom in quiet perseverance, in allowing our plans to take shape without the distraction of external forces. When we trust the process and let go of the need for immediate recognition, we create the conditions for our dreams to flourish in the fullness of their potential. The disciple, now beginning to understand the master's teachings, realized that his dreams were not fragile because of the lack of support, but because he had allowed them to be influenced too soon by the opinions of others. It was not the discouragement from his family that had wounded him, but his own willingness to expose his plans before they were ready to stand strong. In protecting our dreams, we protect their potential, allowing them to unfold in their own time and at their own pace. When we learn to nurture our plans in silence, we free ourselves from the burden of other people's expectations. We allow our dreams to grow into something more than just a fleeting idea, transforming them into solid, unwavering intentions. With patience and quiet determination, we can bring our visions into the world in their fullest form, strong and unshaken by external doubt or influence. It is in silence, in the private tending of our goals, that we find the power to let them flourish. The master smiled as the disciple absorbed the wisdom of the garden. Remember, he said, the bud that is nurtured in silence will bloom into something beautiful, strong, and true. Trust in the process, and your dreams will grow in their own time. Now, let's take these philosophical lessons and apply them to our everyday lives. It's one thing to understand these truths on a theoretical level, but it's in the small, deliberate actions we take each day that we begin to embody them. Guarding our struggles, keeping financial matters private, and protecting our dreams are practices that can transform the way we experience the world. Let's dive deeper into how we can integrate these principles into our daily routine. Guarding your struggles. It's natural to seek comfort in those closest to us when facing adversity. After all, they are the ones we trust the most, the ones we turn to in moments of need. However, there's a fine line between seeking support and offloading burdens indiscriminately. Too often, we lean on others for comfort without considering the emotional impact it may have on them. We may think that by sharing our pain, we are lightening our own load, but in reality, we may be creating ripples in their lives, ripples that distort their peace just as the pebble distorts the reflection of the moon in water. To begin with, we need to develop inner resilience. This is the practice of facing challenges on our own, building the strength to endure hardship without constantly seeking validation from others. One way to cultivate resilience is through meditation and mindfulness. By sitting in stillness, observing our thoughts, and detaching from the emotions that arise, we gain the ability to meet difficulties with greater clarity and composure. This doesn't mean we shouldn't ever ask for help, but it does mean we should first try to face our struggles in silence, allowing our inner strength to emerge. When advice is necessary, seek neutral guidance from mentors or professionals who can offer an unbiased perspective. These individuals are less likely to be influenced by the emotional dynamics of your family relationships and can provide more objective insight. Think of them as a still pond, reflecting reality clearly, without the ripples of personal attachment. If you do decide to share your struggles with family, choose your words carefully. Rather than saying, "I'm overwhelmed," try framing your situation more positively, such as, "I'm working on finding a solution." This subtle shift in language conveys confidence and self-reliance, which in turn can inspire confidence in those around you. By speaking from a place of action rather than despair, you not only protect your inner peace, but also influence the way others perceive your situation. Keeping financial matters private. Money is a practical necessity, but it is also a source of tension when shared too freely. Whether it's discussing salaries, debts, or financial goals, money often becomes a point of contention, especially within families. When you share too much about your financial situation, it can lead to unwanted advice, envy, or even feelings of entitlement. Just as the Zen master used the image of sand slipping through fingers, money, when held too tightly or shared too freely, can slip away, bringing with it complications that cloud the simplicity of peace. Start by establishing financial boundaries. Avoid lending or borrowing money within the family unless absolutely necessary. These transactions can quickly lead to misunderstandings, or worse, resentment. Keeping your finances private means not only safeguarding your wealth, but also protecting the emotional well-being of your loved ones. A small loan here or there might seem harmless, but over time, it can strain relationships in ways that are difficult to repair. Practice financial mindfulness by adopting a minimalist approach to spending. Simplify your life and focus on what truly matters: experiences, relationships, personal growth. The less we focus on acquiring material wealth, the less it becomes a point of comparison or competition. Avoid unnecessary financial discussions with family members, especially those that might lead to judgment or conflict. Instead of boasting about a financial windfall or lamenting about a struggle, keep these matters to yourself. Celebrate quietly, knowing that your peace doesn't depend on anyone else's approval. Protecting your dreams. Dreams are fragile in their early stages. They are like delicate buds, not yet ready to bloom. When we share them prematurely with others, we risk exposing them to criticism, doubt, and unsolicited advice. While family may want to help, their intentions can sometimes derail our focus, making us second-guess ourselves or lose confidence in our vision. One of the most powerful ways to protect your dreams is to work in silence. Focus on your goals without constantly seeking external validation. Take the time to hone your skills, build your vision, and refine your plan in private. When your dreams are still in the formative stages, it's best to shield them from too much external influence. Trust that your vision is enough before it is shared with the world. Let it be nurtured by your own inner strength and resolve. Another useful practice is to visualize your goals privately. Create a vision board or write in a journal, but do so in solitude. Keep your aspirations close to your heart, away from the opinions and distractions of others. By doing so, you protect your dreams from being tainted by fears or doubts that are not your own. This private space allows your dreams to grow strong, rooted in your own sense of purpose and direction. Finally, when the time is right, and your plans have matured and solidified, it will be easier to share them with your family. But this should come only after you've nurtured them in silence long enough for them to stand on their own. When the foundation is strong, the winds of doubt can blow without knocking down what you've built. You'll be able to share your dreams with confidence, knowing that they are not subject to the opinions of others, but are instead grounded in your own unwavering belief in their potential. These practices, guarding your struggles, keeping financial matters private, and protecting your dreams, are all forms of self-respect. They are ways to honor your own inner wisdom and strength, to cultivate resilience, and to ensure that your relationships remain intact and your goals unshaken. By applying these principles in our everyday lives, we create space for personal growth and peace. We protect the things that are most sacred to us, our struggles, our wealth, and our dreams, so they can grow into something meaningful and lasting. It's important to remember that silence is not a sign of weakness or isolation. Instead, it is a tool for personal empowerment. By choosing carefully when and how to share, we maintain control over the narrative of our lives. We don't have to explain ourselves or justify our choices to others. By developing the practice of working in silence, we empower ourselves to grow, to evolve, and to build lives that are rich not only in material success, but in inner peace, wisdom, and fulfillment. And when we do share, it will be from a place of strength, where our words reflect the confidence of a life lived with intention and clarity. In the end, the peace we seek in life comes not from external validation, but from within. By applying the wisdom of silence, patience, and mindful action to our struggles, finances, and dreams, we create lives that are more harmonious, more authentic, and ultimately more fulfilling. In the Zen and Buddhist traditions, silence is not merely the absence of sound. It is a profound state of being, a conscious choice to preserve peace, clarity, and intention. When we embrace silence, we invite stillness into our hearts and minds, creating a sacred space where wisdom can flourish, untainted by the noise of external opinions. It's in this space that we can listen deeply, not just to others, but to ourselves, and in doing so, connect more authentically to the world around us. Each of us carries a unique story, a unique set of experiences, and yet, in our daily interactions, it is often easy to forget the weight our words can carry. In the hustle and bustle of life, we may find ourselves sharing too freely our successes, our struggles, our hopes, and dreams, believing that doing so brings us closer to others. But in reality, sometimes what we share can create ripples of doubt, envy, or misunderstanding, especially when it is shared prematurely or without thought. Words have power, and every word we speak holds the potential to heal or harm, to build or destroy. In practicing discretion, we protect not only our inner peace, but also the sacredness of our relationships. True connection doesn't come from oversharing, but from being fully present in the moment, from mindful listening, and from allowing silence to serve as a bridge between us and others. It is in these quiet moments of understanding, without the need for words, that we can nurture the bonds we cherish most. Silence, when chosen with intention, becomes our strength, and discretion becomes our guide. By learning when to speak and when to remain silent, we cultivate a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. When we share too much, we may unintentionally create expectations that others may not be ready to meet, or worse, cause unnecessary tension and discomfort. But when we choose to protect our thoughts, our struggles, and our dreams, we honor the sacredness of these experiences, allowing them to grow and unfold on their own terms. And in doing so, we also offer the people we care about the freedom to do the same. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I truly hope that these reflections on silence and discretion resonate with you, and that they bring a sense of peace to your own life. If you found this video helpful, I'd be so grateful if you could subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. How do you find peace through silence in your own life? Do you have any personal stories or insights on the power of discretion that you'd like to share? Please feel free to leave a comment below. Let's continue this conversation and support one another on this journey toward greater wisdom, inner peace, and more authentic connections. Thank you again for being here. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, where we'll explore even more ways to live with intention and mindfulness. Until then, may your words be gentle, your actions wise, and your moments filled with peace.